but I'm going to say, I read you posted on LinkedIn, Magic Johnson, Irving Magic Johnson, right?
Absolutely.
He got a hold of you. Please tell me, you don't have to disclose anything, but what was that like? Having Magic call you on the phone. Please tell me, take us through, because he's a Laker. You grew up loving the Lakers. Not only do you have Byron Scott, now you have Magic Johnson. Please take us to that space.
It was incredible. It was truly incredible because, Magic is Laker legend, one of the best to ever do it, and so I had 3 minutes of his time. That's all I had. So as just as we're talking, it was the same way with Magic. And, as soon as the phone call started, the first thing he noticed was all these cans behind me. So he said, "Hey, Cory, I see you got a lot of cans behind you." That was the first thing he said. And I said, "Absolutely, Magic." And that's exactly why, I'm so happy for this call, because I wanted to introduce you to Warrior Energy Drink. I said, and I gave him the full rundown, the history of how it started and blah, blah, blah. And he said, "You know what? I think it's great what you're doing. Keep going." He said, "And I want to taste it." He said, "So send me some cans." And he's like, "I got your phone number. I got your email. You guys, I got everything." So what I did was, the very next day, I sent 7 boxes to his office, and they were all personalized boxes with thank you cards inside of it, with cans, with stickers, with hats, with shirts. I sent him 7 FedEx boxes, right? And each one, there was one for him, one for his son, one for his assistant, the assistant's assistant, the receptionist. I put their names on every single darn box, because I guarantee you, when that FedEx man walked into that building that day, he was like, "Oh my God, this is all from Warrior Energy Drink. Here you go." So I know he received it because I tracked it. But that's kind of like the next step with him, because, if you look at Magic Johnson Enterprises, he has $325 million set aside to invest in small businesses. He has that money just sitting there. It's got to go to someone, right? So my thing is, as a potential investor, send him the product. If he likes it, we can have another meeting. Maybe this one can be sit down in his office face to face. And, I look at it the same way Kobe Bryant, rest in peace. I look at it the same way that he did Body Armor. When Kobe Bryant invested into Body Armor, I believe he put in $6 million for a 10% stake in Body Armor. Fast forward a year and a half later, that $6 million turned into $200 million. So if Magic wants to do the same thing, I'd be more than happy to take that $6 million for 10% ownership stake in Warrior. And we use that money the right way, the same way they did. The inventory, marketing, and distribution, the 3 pillars of what Warrior is really doing and going after. But it was incredible conversation with Magic Johnson. I will never forget it. I'm so grateful that he even gave me those 3 minutes, because I felt like that was a great opportunity right there to pitch one of the greatest, not just, players of all time, but one of the greatest investors of all time too, because let's face it, he owns part of the Dodgers, Los Angeles Football Club, IHOPs, Denny's, Starbucks, movie theaters. The list goes on and on and on. And he's been a genius with his money. And so, he's got the Warrior now too, whether or not, if he actually has already tasted it or drunk it, we'll find out. One of these days we will find out, whether it's a week from now, a month from now, whatever it is. The fact of being able to pitch it to someone of that level, just in life, I'm still blown away by it. Just the way it happened like that.
Come on. I think I would scream like a 4-year-old kid if my idol, right? If somebody I looked up to called me on the phone and said, "You got 3 minutes." I would scream. I'd be like, "Hold on, let me compose myself."
I screamed after.
Yeah, exactly. Man, that is amazing. Like, honestly, like, guys, just think about this for a second. I know I'm going to beat this. People, you're going to look at this, you're going to watch this and look at me and you're going to listen to this and go, stop talking about the napkin. But I'm telling you right now, it's not about the napkin. It's about writing down the passion, the idea to turn it into a passion. And that's all Cory did. He took an idea, turned it into passion. It was before that. He said, I'm so tired of working this late night shift. He hit a point where he was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm done doing this. It wasn't really a 9 to 5. We'll call it a 10 to 7, right? 10 at night, 7 in the morning. I'm done. I can't go home being tired anymore. Something has to change. Something's got to give. I know I'm better in this. And it didn't mean that you're starting a new business. It could be anything, right? It could be, I need a change. But
Absolutely.
You set a plan. You set the plan 60, right? 60, 90, 100, 30, 60, 90. You set the plan out. I'm going to do this small wins, small measurables. And because of that, and because of what you stuck with, and because of the passion in which you choose to live, you now have a childhood idol call you and say, I'll give you 3 minutes.
Yep.
I mean, it may not happen to everybody that way, but oh my gosh, that's freaking amazing.
Dude. Oh yeah. It was awesome. I still can't believe to this day that, less than basically like 2 weeks ago, I was on the phone with Irving Magic Johnson, and now he knows what this product is, when he has the power to, change, the dynamic. I mean, he literally could say, here, Cory, here's $5 million. Do what you need to do with it. Blow this thing up, make it, it'll be on the radio everywhere. You have mass distribution. It's everywhere in the nation. Now it's in, thousands upon thousands of stores. It's like, wow, like, is that really all it takes? Is a strategy, a game plan, and then funding? Because, it's like, is it really that simple? It's in a way, if you have all your ducks in a row, it can be.
So let me ask you this question. How do you personally go back and look at the wins? Because a lot of people will say, well, I don't do that because, I want to get prideful. I want my head to be big. But look, that's total BS. Okay. You hear me correctly. It's total BS. If you cannot celebrate your wins, you've got issues. Everybody that I talk to, my mentors will tell me, you need to figure out, you need to have a game plan that says, when we hit this milestone, you have to celebrate the win. You have to. Yeah. Right. So take us to that, Cory. Help us understand, how do you celebrate your win? You personally, you as a family, and then you as a team.
So for me personally, I go back in time. And how I do this is I still have my old notebooks that I was writing in a year ago. And I look at those notes. I kid you not. I looked at it the other day and I opened it up and it said, try to have phone call with Derek Fisher from the Lakers. Now, mind you, I laughed my butt off for like a good 5 minutes because my mind said, a year ago, you thought that you could only get Derek Fisher from the Lakers on the phone. You just spoke to someone probably 1,000 times greater than you even thought that you written down on your notebook. I wanted to pitch it to Derek Fisher at first, and see if he'd be interested in maybe doing an investment or a partnership, because at that time, he wasn't involved in any kind of energy drinks that I knew of. And I said, wow, that's a major win, because my mind said, try to get the more attainable, easier celebrity or athlete. No, it was bigger than I even thought possible it could be, So I definitely like to go in my old notebook and look at my old notes and look at what I was trying to do back then, market this way on IG or Facebook or whatever. And then I look at it and I'm like, man, not only did I do that, but we also did this and this and this and these other cool things. And now NASCAR is looking, and now, Red Bull is looking, and Bang is calling. So definitely, I am a true believer in celebrating the big wins, the little wins. Everything's not a home run, so you got to celebrate the base hits, right? Like if you got on base, celebrate that. And I truly believe that, because it's like eventually you keep getting on base. Okay, now you're scoring points, and now you're starting to win the game. So for me, it's definitely looking in the past at some of my notes, my notebooks, and just looking at it and realizing like, wow, we actually have come a long way.
But guys, journaling. You journal. Do you still journal? Do you still keep a journal?
I do. I have a notebook that I carry around in my backpack everywhere I go. So in my notebook, there's two things that I carry other than my iPad.
Right.
Other than my iPad, I carry my calendar. I'm old school with it. I still have a calendar that I write my appointments on and things like that, places I need to go to and events we have. I like to write it down. There's something about the connection between writing something down, I believe, and our brain. Because whenever I write something down, it's locked in. But whenever I put it into my phone, I forget. So I'm like, you know what? I carry my little day planner calendar that I have. Mm-hmm. And other than that, I have a full notebook in my and I'm writing everything on it, from ideas to, I still do 30, 60, 90-day goals. I have a 30-day goal right now that says make new energy drink flavor. So I started that process this past Friday, where I'm in the lab and I'm with the beverage scientists. And I'm like, okay, let's figure out what sweetener we're going to use. Let's figure out the percent of B vitamins we're going to use. Let's figure out the milligrams of caffeine for the next drink. Are we going to use, stevia? Are we going to use monk fruit? What are we going to use? And that's how it works. It's kind of like your mind is always thinking and planning and, trying to formulate things. So absolutely. I mean, everything for me is still journaling. It's still, and I like it. I like it because it keeps me on task with what I want to do next.
Oh my gosh. We could stop. Literally, we could stop right here. I could close up and say, just do it at this point, right? I probably should probably get in trouble. But guys, listen to what Cory's saying. He journals. He writes his thoughts down. He still keeps it old school. There is something, you're definitely right. There is something about the frontal cortex when you're writing down, your brain sees it writing, it gets cemented in your memory. It gets cemented in there. And you're like, this is because I wrote it down. It's almost like speaking it out and saying, because now I cast it out, I got to do it. You are then holding yourself accountable as you start flipping through those notebooks, which is absolutely unbelievable. Unbelievable. You guys listen, this is going to be a multi-million-dollar company, right? It's going to get bought out. Somebody, whether it's Magic Johnson or somebody else, going to come by and say, wait, we're going to buy it. You own 50%, we'll take, or 51%, we'll take 59%. If you don't believe it, I'm telling you, but it does not just for business, right? This is everyday personal life. Write down the inspirations that you're getting. Whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, a higher power or the universe, when you get those inspirations, you have to stop and write them. Cory just told you what he carries that in his backpack. Amongst the swag, he has old school. When he hears or thinks of something, instantly he writes it down.
Absolutely.
Instantly he goes into action mode and not just passive mode, like, oh, that's a really good idea. I should think about doing that. Man, that's awesome. Oh, man, Cory, I knew this conversation was going to be great, but wow. The last question I want to ask, because it's still kind of on my mind. How do you, as a family, right? How do you incorporate your family? You get your wife, your 3 beautiful daughters. How is everybody invested in what you do? And take us through that. And then also, how do you guys celebrate the wins as a family?
Well, a lot of times when we do our pop-ups, they come out, they help me. The kids will get in the booth with me sometimes, and they want to pour drinks, and stuff, and interact with people. And I think it's great because, they're learning at a young age what it's like to have a business. And, that's, if nothing else, let that be the legacy that I left. It's kind of like, okay, they learned from me how to run a business, how to start a business, how to come up with ideas and see it through. If you don't see it through, then what good is it, right? But, we celebrate those wins because they're like, wow, Dad, they really like this drink. They tell me, I want to work for you, and that kind of, that struck my heart, because I was like, I'm not only your dad, but now you're telling me that you want to work for me when you become of age. You want to Like, really? Like, that touched me more than anything, I think, because now I'm like, you know what? Not only do they see where it came from, they understand who I am, but they see the positivity in it and they want to support it and they want to be a part of it and they want to grow with it. So that to me was the biggest thing when they told me that, you know, Dad, I'll work for you. And I wanted to cry because I'm like, it's amazing. You know, it's a truly a blessing because, you know, I'm just like, I'm touched by this, not just the community support, but the family support too. So, I mean, we celebrate every day. I mean, we pretty much just like, hey, you know, whatever you guys want to do, we'll do it. You know, we'll figure it out, you know, but that right there, that's kind of support when they say they want to work for me. That blew my mind because here I am with this little guy with a little napkin, and now it's turned into this thing where the family is like, we'll work for you. That kind of it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming to think about.
Guys, I'm going to draw the comparison because I know Cory's humble. He's too humble, but I'm going to do this for him. Look, his mom and dad taught him the work ethic. His dad taught him how to work with his hands. His mom taught him how to work with his heart and with his mind. Cory is now teaching his children not to work for anybody, but to understand what it's like to think of a business idea, get everything in motion for that business, start the business, and believe in your business. Cory is teaching generational wealth. That's what he's teaching. Think with your mind, not with your muscles. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Look, don't get me twisted, right? Understand what I'm saying. You could be a mechanic. That's fine. Own your mechanic shop.
There you go.
You could work for a food bank. Own a food bank.
There you go.
You know, that's what Cory is saying. That he's teaching his children. He is teaching them how to be entrepreneurs and how to go get what they deserve, which is that freedom. Now, look, time is, he's a busy guy, really busy guy, which we're so grateful that he took time today to be on this show. But what he is establishing in his children is that long-term generational wealth of understanding how to run a business. So when they go to school, it's with a purpose. If they go to college, it's with the purpose. I want to get a degree in this. I want to get a degree in this because I know it's going to lead to this. It's not, I'm just going to go and I'm going to work for somebody. Anybody I'll be happy to work with. Man, that is amazing, guys. Like, it's just, it's generational change. Cory is systematically changing his family makeup. It's because of consistency and his passion.
And you know what's funny? You know what's funny is so I have my 13-year-old daughter, right? She tells me, hey, Dad, you know, I want to maybe one day open up something called Milan's Nails, and I want to have my own nail shop. I said, you can do it. I said, you can definitely do it. I said, but my first and only advice to you is before you even do any of that, please write it down. Please write it down. Please get a piece of paper and draw. I want you to draw me what your nail shop will look like. Draw me a picture. Put the chairs in there. Put the tables in there. Put the workers in there. Are you the worker? Are you doing the nails? Draw it for me. So she started doing that. She goes, this is Milan's nail shop. And this is where the workers sit. And this is where we do the feet. And this is where I said, great. Because now you have that. Guess where it is? It's in your brain. It's in there. So she's 13 now. But as she's getting older, she's going to remember Milan's Nails. That's my business. My second daughter, Naima, she's the kid. She reminds me so much of myself because she tells me, Dad, can you take me to the store so I can buy some candy? There's this one particular candy called slime lickers. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but they're very popular here. And so she goes, can you take me to the store and buy some slime? I said, yeah, sure. Little did I know she was taking those to school and selling them. for like triple the profit. So I see her come home one day and she's got this wad of cash, like looking like a little drug dealer. And I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't give you that. Where'd you get that from? She goes, Dad, I got my little business. I got clients. She's 11 telling me, Dad, I have clients. I said, what? You got what? So she goes, don't worry about it, Dad. I'm going to get on my TikTok and I'm going to tell my TikTok fans that tomorrow when I come to school, I have more supply for them.
Oh my God.
My 8-year-old daughter tells me, Dad, can you buy me some wood? And I'm like, wood? I'm like, what? I'm like, what are you going to do with the wood? She says, I want you and me to build me a lemonade stand so I can sell drinks. I said, okay, this is too much now. Now I have 3 mini-me's all trying to start their own things. But I say, you know what? That's great. Because now they're thinking, if he can do it, I can do it. And I know if nothing else, I rubbed off on them in that way.
Oh my gosh. Stop it. It's not about, look, guys, it's not about business. It's not about starting a business. It's about leaving a legacy. Cory just laid out the legacy that he's leaving for his children to think of for themselves, to earn for themselves, to be the example that the kids want to be. Like, they believe, look, a year, Cory had done nothing for a year, literally nothing, right? He fail after fail after fail, because we go through the whole failure process, right? We'll call it the learning. I'm not a fan of failing, but learning, right? Failing to learn, failing to learn, failing to learn. They saw this whole thing and now they see where it's at and blowing up. They're like, oh, okay. So my dad showed me that it takes time to get what I want. I have to write it down first. I have to visually think about that. You told your 13-year-old to visually write it down. You have to write and draw. What does it look like? I want to see what that nail shop looks like. We as parents have to teach our children to dream like that. Write it down, sketch it out, and then go after it. And that's what we focus on. Good night. This is amazing. Oh my gosh. Oh, guys, I don't know if it's from the interview or it's because I'm the warrior energy drink. I am ready to run through a brick wall, regardless of what I'm, unbelievable, man. I cannot believe this is amazing. All right. So as we, want to be respectful of your time. So as we start to wrap up, give us an insight of the warrior energy drink. I mean, we've heard a lot about it. Where can we go? How can we find it? Give us some, we know the back history crap. We've talked about it this entire interview, which has been fantastic to say the least. Give us some, where can we go? How can we get it? And what's the best way to buy it if we don't live in California?
So definitely off of our website, www.warriorenergydrink.com. So you can definitely order it there. We also got some cool hats, some cool shirts, all that kind of stuff. So definitely from our website, if you're not in California. If you are in California, then we're actually right now in 7-Eleven Duarte, 7-Eleven Rosemead, 7-Eleven Bellflower. We're also we're all throughout Orange County. So we're in liquor stores, vape shops. We're even in this store called Gulp, which is a brand new one in West LA. So we're there as well. But the cool thing is in the next week or two, we'll be fully set up on Uber Eats, Postmates, and DoorDash. So now you can order Warrior Energy Drink and have it delivered to your doorstep, icy cold, in 30 minutes or less. So we're excited about that partnership as well. But anything outside of California, definitely from our website, we'll ship it to you. We'll have it to you in 2 to 3 days, tops. That's been pretty much our speed so far. And so we've partnered with the president of 7-Eleven. So we're actually going to be with him and 1,000 7-Eleven franchise owners. April the 6th will be at the Pasadena Convention Center, where Warrior Energy Drink will, in the next couple of weeks, introduce itself to 1,000 7-Elevens all at once.
Stop it. From a napkin.
And that's nationwide. That's nationwide 7-Elevens. April the 6th.
A napkin. All of this came from a napkin. I just smacked my mic there. I'm unbelievable. Unbelievable, guys. Just think about that. Man, look, if you're not fired up, you guys need to go check the polls. That's what we need to do. You know what I'm saying? This has been fantastic, Cory. I cannot believe that you gave us the time. And I personally want to thank you for that. It's been an amazing interview, process, the mindset, the training, the detail in which you speak. I love it, man. I love it. All right. As we wrap this up, all the links are going to be down below. It'll be in the bios. It'll be all over we'll get you guys out how you can buy it. So as we wrap this up, here's what I want to do. Okay. So you're at your favorite ice cream shop, right? You're just sitting there, you're kind of with the family, and you're approached by a kid from your neighborhood, right? Where you grew up. And he looks at you and he says, how do I get out of getting out? How do I get out like you got out? Give this young man, give us all actionable steps that you can get, that you'd be able to train and mentor this person on how to get out of getting out.
You know, it's great that you asked that question, because I just had this similar conversation with my nephew about 2 hours ago, who he's been struggling with drug addiction. He's been struggling with homelessness. He's been struggling with all this stuff. And you know what he told me? He's a pretty big kid. So he told me he has a dream of becoming a WWE wrestler. And I said, really? Because I never knew he was even passionate in this area. And I told him, okay, well, then you need that 30, 60, 90-day goal. If you know what you want to become, you have to figure out how to become it. So first thing I told him was write it down. 30, 60, 90 days. What does it take to become that thing? You want to get out of the drug addiction, right? Okay. You want to get out of the homelessness, right? Okay. What do you need to do first? You need to make sure that you're around people who don't pressure you to get in that kind of environment anymore. Number one, you have to be clean. You have to be able to stay away from certain people and certain vices. And then you have to be able to, train. You have to be healthy. You have to eat right. These are all different things that you can 30, 60, 90 day out. So first, number one is you have to know what you want to become, or know what it is that you want to do. If you don't have that, can't help you. You got to know what you want to become first, whether it's a business or a wrestler or whatever it is. You got to know that at least, and then you can start to build your actionable steps towards what it is that you want to become. So that's really it. Like I would even, invite him to my house and say, look, let's sit down together. And I would interview him and I would ask him, what is it that you want to become? If you don't know that, figure it out and come back. But if you know, okay, that's the first step. Now we can game plan it step by step, figuring out what it is that it will take to get there. And your first 30 days are going to look like this. You're going to struggle. It's going to be really hard. But after you clear that 30, you can do another 30 and then another 30. It's the basics. It's that analogy again, because it's like, you gotta start somewhere. And that's what I told him. I said, if this is something that you're really passionate about and you're consistent enough, you'll eventually get there. But if you're playing around with it and you haven't written it down, it's just not going to come.
Oh my gosh, man, that unbelievable. 30, 60, 90. That should be written up on a big old board and slapped over everybody. That should be the new decree, 30, 60, 90. Just 30, 60, 90. Unbelievable, Cory. Man, I am so jacked. Seriously, that I was able to talk to you today and grab not just your insight, but your love and your passion and the lifestyle that you're creating. You're giving back to people. You're giving back to your community. You're changing the world really one warrior can at a time, man. I appreciate it, man. Tell everybody how we can follow you, how we can reach out to you. Give us all your social medias. I'll make sure they're down below, guys. But yeah, Cory, how can we follow you and how can we support?
For sure. It's at Drink Warrior Energy on our Instagram. That'd probably be the easiest way to do it. I mean, if you type in at Drink Warrior Energy on Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, any of them, it's all the same. So we're definitely there. LinkedIn as well. And of course, www.warriorenergydrink.com, which is our website as well. So we just keep it simple. And yeah, we're on all those social, even Snapchat, we're there too, and Tumblr and all those other ones. I think we're on like 7, 8, or YouTube. We're on YouTube too. So it's all the same. But yeah, definitely all those links.
Love it. Oh my gosh, Cory. That was many. Okay, before I let you go, I do this to all my people get on the phone or that we talk to. Give me 5 books, podcast books, whatever. Give us 5 books that you would recommend anybody to read and say, read it, study it, love it, learn it. Give me 5. Give me 5 books.
I'm gonna give you 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you 3. One of them I wrote. But the first one is the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a Christian, and there's so many life lessons in the Old Testament and New Testament that I believe can really shed light on just life in general, spirituality. So Holy Bible, doesn't matter which one you read, but Holy Bible is number 1. Number 2, that influenced me growing up was Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki. That book right there, I think that changed my life in so many ways because, he talks about the 2 dads, and he talks about the fathers and the rich dad and the poor dad, and how, the poor dad wanted one thing and the rich dad wanted the other. And it was like education versus non-education. And it's not about knowing everything. It's about specializing in something. And that's what I took from that. I'm like, I don't need to know how to do every single thing in the world. But if I know how to do something really, really well, and in some cases better than most, I can monetize that and I can teach that. So I really took a lot of lessons from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, but that's one of them. The third one is a little motivational book that I wrote called You Can, End of Story. And so it's motivational. I wrote it a few years ago. I didn't really promote it. It was just more of like it was a passion project. It was one of those things where I felt inspired, and I talk about things that happened in my life and certain celebrities that I met growing up that kind of taught me life lessons. And I'll just share one of them real quick. It was actually R. Kelly. I met him when I was how old was I? I was about 12 years old when I met him. And it was me and my brothers at Cheviot Hills Park in Los Angeles. Me and my older brothers were playing basketball. I see this stretch limo pull up. It's like a Hummer, like it blacked out and everything. And we're like, who's this? It's R. Kelly. It's R. Kelly and his team. He brought a team with him of like 7 guys. These guys were all semi-pro basketball players. So his plan was, let me get out there on the court and play against these, guys in the neighborhood, and we're going to whoop them and win every single game. And that's exactly what he did. When he and his team got on the court, these are like 7-foot guys, like 4 or 5 of them. They didn't lose a game, like 10 games straight, right? And I met him that day, and got to talk to him, and I learned something deep that day, I feel. And that is, you're only as strong as the team around you. And if you bring that team with you everywhere you go, you'll never lose. I learned that at like 10, 11 years old by watching R. Kelly. Because he was smart enough to say, look, he wasn't that great of a basketball player. I saw his shot look crazy. He didn't hardly make any points, but it didn't matter. Didn't matter because the other guys that were on his team were dunking and shooting threes like Steph Curry. And I learned a lesson that day. I said, you know what? It doesn't matter if you just happen to be the weakest player on the team. If you have other stronger people around you on the same team, you'll always win.
Oh man, go get it. Go get it. What a way to wrap this up, man. Cory, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate your time. I appreciate what you're doing, the inspiration you're giving everybody. Man, guys, go follow him. The links to everything will be in here. I hope you have enjoyed this interview as much as I have. I have learned nuggets. The great thing about this, I'm going to go back and re-listen to this multiple times before it gets out. But thank you so much, guys. Thank you for being a part of this project. Remember, please share, please share this with people that just need to be inspired, need to have that pick me up. Man, share this because I know that I'm gonna share it just like Cory's going to share it. Guys, thank you so much. It's been another fantastic interview on the Art Study of You. We will see you guys on the next episode. Thank you. Have a good night.